I'm gonna try not to out funny y'all because I'm very funny. I'm very
no,
funny.
that would help.
In the mix.
Welcome to In the Mix with Koku.
And Mariah.
And on the mix, I guess African music is becoming very global. It's becoming popular. And on the mix, we're trying to do a couple of things. We're trying to bring people who are within the industry to talk to them, find out what they think about this growing popularity. We're trying to talk to also our friends to see what they think about what's going on, and just have like a general conversation on, African music, Afro beats,
The evolution.
owning the narrative, and, making sure that we're just documenting this beautiful part of, history. And yeah.
We have a very exciting episode today. One of a very popular Ghanaian creative that I'm a fan of, Bigg Homie Flee. He is a co-founder of the music collective out of Ghana, Ground Up. He's been associated with popular musicians like obviously Kwesi Arthur, Kofi Mole, Kwamina MP. If you don't know these people, look it up, get into it. Amare. And with Flea's roots to back home, Ghana, and being based here in Brooklyn, we thought he had we thought he would have a really good insight into what is happening now with the popularity that African music is seeing in the West and what that would mean for African artists, for the continent, for all the different people that need their creativity to be recognized and be successful. And so we're talking to Flee, and we're really excited to hear some of his insights.
In the mix.
In the mix.
And we have with us, he goes by many names.
Feel
The
me?
voice.
Big Flee go.
Abontin father.
Abontin father.
You know, while I shake back,
Wallahi,
baby.
shake back, baby.
It's Bigg Homie Flee.
You feel me?
Thank you so much for coming.
In the flesh. No, thank y'all for having me,
Mhm.
man. I feel, you feel me? I feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
Cause guys like us, like they don't root for us in public.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always like, who be that guy? Whether it be hype man or it be crazy hype man. Like my nigga, I'm no hype man.
Yeah, you're more than that.
Nigga, I'm the culture, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm the voice. I represent. You feel me? Like, nah, but yeah, it's us.
Mm-hmm.
Representation is important, man. Like,
You've done a lot of great things, I would say. Like,
appreciate
I
you.
really, I'm a big fan, and
I'm
I
humble.
really wanted to understand, how you got here. So, we know that Chimfe is your cousin, and
oh yeah.
he was your inspiration. But how did you get to? Let's talk about Ground
Yeah,
Up.
So back to the journey and transitioning to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much like me and my cousin, you know what I mean? You know the type of niggas that you grew up with and then they turn to your cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they be your
Family.
friends, but they your homies like out the mud, your boys. But then y'all cousins. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, shout out my brother Glenn. That's G Money. That's my blood brother for real. So we started this shit. We sent my mother's car. That's the car that remember my old car. You see the yellow car in Grande video that was hanging out.
Yeah.
That was your mother's car.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Remember my old car. You feel me? And
Mm-hmm.
then Midget and I call and whatever I wanted. So it's like that was the old car that we was running around with the hoopty. We were on our AC in the Grande Jumane. Ghana so you hot.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So all that. So we sitting in the car plotting and we like, yo, bro, we love this shit too much. We gotta do something with it. This music shit.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Cause I used to rap here and there in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We did battle rap here and there. But I never had the discipline to like follow through. But the dream was always instilled in me, seeing what my cousin did
Mm-hmm.
from like, cause bro, you gotta understand, bro, coming from a typical African household, like how dare you say you want to do music?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you can't do that. So when I see my cousin do that, I'm like, oh, it's lit. You could really do this, but you gotta make sure it work though.
Yeah.
If for work, you for blue,
Mhm.
cause if you know blue there, I'm maybe house,
Oh, every day.
Benson's.
Dude,
Yeah,
every day I
you
told
for blow.
Yeah.
And then it's levels to the blow. I see the blow to you for, you gotta really have motion, you gotta have some bread, all that.
Mhm.
So I wanted, that shit was, it was always in my peripheral. So yeah, me and back to Ground Up, me and my cousin Glenn, you feel me, the homie Glenn, you didn't come on, I was like, yo, bro, let's do this shit, bro. Let's really like build a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you feel me, we started this shit and You know.
And then the artists that are ground up Charlie artists, would
Word.
they just be people that are just coming to the studio, just trying their luck, or
Yeah,
were the people
so
you discovered?
so this is what happened. We had started a studio. We was like so already like we had motion in the hood. Say your hood, C12. Shout out C12, Charlie. So yeah, I grew up a C5. I was born in C5. Grew up in C11, and then talking about they running communities. So I born in C5, grew up in C11, like raised in C12. C12 where we started have one of it. So that's why I say talking about Brooklyn, Coastie, Chirac, C12, 911.
Okay.
Get it to the reality, we still outside. So that's like really shouting out the hood.
In the mix.
In the mix.
What conclusion we're trying to come to with this podcast is understanding what it is that African music needs to do to not be sort of diluted or forced into a particular bucket, into a particular frame, or under a particular umbrella, like the Nigerian music industry. Like everybody else is sort of under the Burna Boys and the Remas and the Thames. How do we, as the whole continent and all the people coming from Ghana, from South Africa, from Kenya, how do they make sure they're sticking to their authentic selves while also making a name for themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a really great question, but also it's like the culture is never gonna die. It's too many of us. Yeah, we too deep. Like Africa is like, we went through so much pain, so it's like it's so much to be said. So this just a scratch of the surface. So it's never gonna die. It's never gonna be watered down. Never. You feel me? But also you gotta understand, like, a lot of these artists is trying to blow up.
Yeah.
In terms of like, the numbers, the billboards, and all that, and then the creative freedom might sometimes it's like everything like it's gonna be like here and there, but I'm not worried about it being watered down, because it's like, bro, you got niggas like Odumodu Black coming. Like, you feel me? You got, you know what I'm saying? You got, it's niggas that's really from the trenches. Like, it's too potent. You feel me? It's never gonna be watered down. And it's cycles with this music shit. Like, you got a Saka, bro.
Yeah.
That shit is too. We didn't see your frack cry. No go water down. That's, bro. You got J Bad. Niggas sound like Pop Smoke that was born from a Asafu Kumasi. Like,
right.
You feel me? And all these is branches of Afrobeats. You gotta understand, like.
So I guess that's a good place to actually start. So like the term like Afrobeats. Personally, what does it mean to you?
Most definitely, it's a branch of high life. It's a branch. The drums, Yeah, I'm gonna try to stay politically correct. But it's like the whole story of like Fela Kuti coming to Ghana to finesse that joint from Ebo Taylor. But that's Ghana though. Ghana, we be very friendly.
Yeah.
And our next door cousins, they be very you know what I'm saying? That's what they do. I go through it every day. Like I be outside hosting shows, and they be very like, Nigerians don't play.
They don't play at all.
We be very oh, it's okay. No, it's not. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So would you attribute that to the current state of the Ghanaian industry in terms of
like our timidness?
Industry bang.
There's no industry.
I don't believe there's an industry, bro.
In Ghana.
Recently, they say the Gamro said the my license have they revoke them. So then y'all didn't hear that?
No, I didn't.
I don't take that shit serious. Pardon me though.
Uh,
But it's like, bro, they say Stoneboy and the royalties. We need to sit up, bro.
Yeah.
And somebody got to be willing to like be crucified.
Yeah.
And I've tried
different?
being that guy, but I had to go hiatus.
Yeah.
Because I had my own personal shit to deal with my own inside, but it was an inside story, and then it came outside, so everybody knew. But the whole Ghana thing, it's like, I say, Charlie, that mission, or the Ghana to the horse, say, and the Ghana to Nigeria. I might get crucified for this, because, Ghana, we know the shame on ourselves for outside.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, like, the Nigerian artists, or let's say the Afrobeat artists who, like, use, like, Ghanaian language
I love
in
it.
their songs. Yeah.
I love it. It sound
Mhm.
fire when Oxlade say Odoye. It sound fire. So I'll be back.
Yeah.
You feel me? I
Yeah.
love it. So, and that's what happens to us. Niggas take our shit and sell it back to us. You feel me?
And I think that's what I'm concerned with in general, in terms of just African music in general coming to the West, because in the same way, like, you know, they have the money and the power over here, and they have the influence. I'm worried. I guess I'm just kind of concerned about how that's going to be sold back to us, even though this is our story and our music and our creativity.
I think that it's like, you know, the powers that be is they gonna do what they do. But I think, like I'm saying, like the culture is so authentic, you can't fake it. Like you heard that new joint with Chris Brown and Davido.
Davido, sensational.
Chris Brown don't sound like Chris Brown.
Yeah.
He sound like he wanna be an Afrobeat artist.
Yeah.
It's not gonna get watered down. I don't believe that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Beyonce on Shatawale, on the song with Shatawale, she sound like
I cannot tell you how excited I was to
bro,
do that.
she sound like the girl, a Miss Bell. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So it's like,
So you're saying so what do you make of the collaborations?
bro, it's us.
It's us.
It's black people, bro. It's us.
Yeah.
All that, it go water down. Bro, it's us, bro. Look, bro, it's us.
It's the
It
same.
definitely is
You
us.
feel me? It's
Yeah.
us. So it's like, those is distant relatives. It was a culture, like it was a paradigm shift for them to come back home. And it's like, the conversation is being had through music. These collaborations is important, bro. Like, don't,
Yeah. So
bro.
what you're saying is interesting, because
Bro,
it's
like, it break my heart
Yeah.
when niggas say that, oh, they wasn't fucking with us. We get it. We know they used to call us African booty scratchers. We get it. But, like, it was a disconnect. Now we got to come together. Bro, there is not no event today that you go that they're not playing Afrobeats. Like,
Yeah.
anywhere. Like, Fashion Week. Bro, like, I'm at Stone Island store. They had a pop-up event. They playing Afrobeat straight. 20 minutes. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's us.
And
Justin
that
Bieber.
didn't happen before.
You feel me? It's,
Yeah.
You feel me, bro? It's all that black and white thing is tired, bro. All that. It's tired, bro. It's us.
So in your opinion, would you say when it comes to Afrobeats, it's not more about the sound, but the people making the music, like to be from Africa, West Africa?
The sound is always gonna be there.
Yeah. So I think that's what's been interesting is, so do you feel in the long term, the more globalized Afrobeats gets, we'll lose like the core sound of the music?
I don't
I
think
don't
he's concerned
believe
about
that,
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just a
I
question.
don't believe that because it's so many coming. Bro, look at what Amare did with Sad Girls Love Money. Like, listen to Amare album. You did hear Highlight for Insight.
Yeah.
That's from the soil. That's somebody that can speak full blown treat. You feel me?
Yeah.
She's an artist.
Yeah.
She's so good at it that she's able to, like, shout out to my, you feel me? My homegirl, Amare. You know what I'm saying? I have to give her the shout out real quick. But yeah, you feel me? It's not going nowhere. You feel me?
That's interesting.
It's a great responsibility. It's a great responsibility for the artist too. Because if you look at it, like, they want to be down. Whoever is on a song, I just seen Lil Durk do a song with Arya Starr. Whoever hop on a song, they want to be down.
Yeah.
They don't want to sound American. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's not. Pay mind to this. The Beyonce Shatawale record, she didn't sound like the, you know, She didn't sound like that, right?
Yeah.
Or the two from,
Yeah.
she like, oh, these my people. Yeah, that's how I see it, bro. That's how I
So
see
you're
it.
saying when they hop on these tracks, they try their best to
sound like us,
Yeah.
because it's us. We the soil.
We're the influence.
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
us.
So I think what's interesting.
So
See,
see, they even put words. They even borrow words. Chris Brown bodied that joint, the sensational shit. He bodied it, but Chris Brown's been one of those that he's been on a loop.
For a
You know what I
long
mean?
time. Yeah.
I remember Ghana, he brung out Wizkid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel me? So it's like, yeah, it's us, bro. Trust me. And it's about to, like, Nigeria's a whole beast. Like they got layers and nuances. Like you got the bracket of the Naira Mali, the Zanku bracket, and then you get Rema de my bracket, Oxlade, Omale, Victoni, that nigga with the eye patch.
Yeah,
bro. And then you if free you try and get the new that other bracket, Zeno them, Bella Schmurda, like
yeah.
this shit not going over.
So I would say Naramali, Zeno them, that's like the Zanku type music.
Word.
Ashake is like Fuji.
Bro, I ain't even mention Ashake. What's homie name? Shay Vibes. Odumodu Black. You feel me? And then we go like, nah, let's go back home too. Like we got, you feel me? You got the Amarays, you got Black Sheriff going crazy.
Black Sheriff's going crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this shit is us, bro. It's just like I know niggas gonna be a little scary and be like yeah, Charlie and Shay so that I don't get watered down, but bro. It's lit. We having fun. Yeah.
Do you think having fun is the important thing, not necessarily what?
That's art. Art is expressing freedom. Dancing is freedom. Art in general, like America is tired of the bang bang shoot 'em up. You feel me? The grrr, niggas tired about it. You feel me? So it's like I feel like eventually, bro, you got Gunna hopping on one of the biggest Afrobeat songs. He didn't have to do it.
And I mean that's even like a gospel song. Really.
How does he sound?
He sounds really good on it.
Exactly.
He makes a lot of sense on that song.
So this shit is not good. It's too potent.
It's too potent.
You know they come chop a fufu with fork. It's not gonna hit. So if you come with, even if you got your nails done, you gonna wanna not. You feel me? Yeah, shout out to your nail tech.
My nail tech was actually like she's obsessed with Ashake and she's African American.
She better give you a discount.
I'm gonna do it bloody expensive.
But you see what I'm driving at?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this shit is too potent, but we gotta make sure we stand on it.
Yeah.
Like who about do fufu? You know, go fit take fork chop, cutlery chop the fufu.
African
you go
food,
the wrong
eat it with your hands. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Word.
To get the real. I think a lot about just the way the various African artists are kind of categorizing themselves. Like Burna Boy is now saying he's doing Afrofusion.
That nigga gonna always do the fuck whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Leave that nigga alone. Leave Burna Boy alone.
We love Burna Boy and he's definitely like he
one of them ones.
Yeah. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. Rema is trying to claim Afro rave. And then obviously there are more specific ones like Alte, there's Asaka. I wish that we would get more stick to our local names. So Fuji, Asaka, Alte, like these are names that are actually identifiable, as opposed to again putting all of that under Afro beats or Afro rave or Afro pop. I just feel like those names are so like generic, and then again still.
Word.
And I mean, I like that you're saying that, you know, African and our sound is potent and we are the influence.
Word.
So then my concern is that why are we then borrowing from the West in terms of using the, you know, Afro pop? Like that doesn't make any sense to me personally. That's just my opinion.
I mean, that's an interesting point of view.
Yeah.
You feel me? From the inside looking out, it's like, you know, like let's do our thing, whatever. But it's like it's part of the growth. You know what I mean? It's a foundation. It's Afro. Like you throw shit on top of everything, it's lit. You did, Bob? Just throw Afro on top of any like we did take shit, throw the chop bread, we did chop jollof, you did throw the Afro in front of everything. Like at least like you come into America, you know, it's like America is like it's America. You know? You got New York, you got LA, you got Atlanta.
So you mean they have more specific sort of cultures here in the different cities?
So this is how I break it down. South Africa is Atlanta.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
Amapiano.
Okay.
Very in their own space.
Okay. And that would be like Atlanta to trap, for example.
You feel me? Atlanta is trap. Like, you feel me? New York is Nigeria.
Okay. You
come to Africa, you for check-in with Nigeria. Ghana gets the whole, we get the, your friend is saying, New York vibe too, but Ghana is more like Timbuktu. Ghana is like a melting pot too. It's like niggas come take from Ghana. Niggas come and take from Ghana. You
we're
know what I'm saying?
inspiring people,
Right.
but we're not necessarily owning
You feel
our
me?
own narratives.
So
Okay.
we getting tricked out of our spot, but that's another conversation for another time.
I mean, I think I would say that you're one of the people that's really trying to put Ghana on the map. Amare, Black Sheriff is doing amazing.
100%.
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely think we're trying, but you know, the
We
foundation,
trying.
the foundation is not there.
We really trying, but it's a lot of work. The structure is not there. You know, niggas learn. I got crucified for saying niggas they do over sabi because it's like you got niggas learn the outside of the game too much and they get scared. Like, bro, you got to start from something, bro. We started from the ground up. And we was rapping at gas stations.
Translate over sabi for our American listeners.
Over sabi is like direct translation, like too known, too much book knowledge,
too much knowledge,
not theory.
Not enough action. Okay,
you feel me? This shit is not a one size fits all, bro. It's a lot of adjusting, a lot of like, you know, you see Amare today. She been rapping her ass off since she was 17. You know what I'm saying?
I actually went to the same school as Amare. She was a
Word.
couple years ahead of me. So
Okay,
I mean,
see?
she used to rap back then, quick and straight.
Word.
Yeah.
See, and people don't know she a hip hop head. So it's like it's really the same thing, bro. The drums, the bongo, if you go to the Mali, the West Africa, the Senegal, the Fali Pupas, all like them guys, like I'm forgetting certain names, but it's really like, you know, we just gotta like I feel like we too busy trying to like not gatekeep, but like, bro, let that shit flow. Let that shit rock. It's always gonna come back home. It's always, this shit is not gonna go nowhere. Hip hop is 50 years. This the biggest genre of music in the world.
Right.
Hip hop is only 50 years.
Right.
You got people in Japan singing 50 Cent lyrics. Afro beats, it's like that. You cannot, you feel me? They said hip hop is what? Now it's like mumble rap, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a little watered down. But still, Nas is selling out Madison Square Garden. 50 Cent is on tour.
Right.
It will never go nowhere. Afro beats, 20 years from now, Burna Boy could still be on tour if he want.
Right.
Word.
Burna Boy's been touring 3 years straight. I don't know how he does it.
You feel me? So I
hasn't stopped
believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? That shit is just scary talking about, oh, it's going to get watered down. I mean, gentrification happens.
Right.
But
Well, the culture never dies.
I don't think this shit is too potent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you can't, feel me? They've been selling jollof mix in Trader Joe's for how long? Nobody buying that shit.
They need the real. They need the real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Buying that shit. Watered down? No, I don't believe it. Davido is never gonna get on a song and wanna sound like a
the
hip
other
hop
person.
artist. No.
I think Davido's one of the. I mean, I think he does his collaborations very well.
And that nigga was born in Atlanta.
Right.
Burna Boy had a whole song on Beyonce. He didn't try to impress nobody.
Right.
You feel me? And that be when you didn't need a nigga like Shatta Wale. Cause he don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But then be when the Ovasabi they come inside. You think you gotta switch your lingo so that Kendrick will put you on a song. No.
You don't have to.
Beyonce coming, who he go feature? He go feature Shatta Wale. Since bro, stick to the script. You worried about it not being watered down? Stick to your language. You know how it's gonna get watered down? Because you be trying to impress them.
Yeah.
You be trying to sound like them.
Oh, so you're not worried that the new like African artists who are trying to blow
trying to sound like.
Are you
like
worried that
everyone
might
else?
happen?
Let's do the ones with them blow. Bremer, he don't sound like an American artist. He don't. He might put on some Balenciaga. He put that shit on, but sticking to our script, bro. This shit ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. So you spoke about like claiming. We should make sure that we claim.
Charlie, we for claim.
Yeah,
you for rep the set, bro.
How does claiming look like?
Bro, you gotta be proud, bro. You gotta rep.
Yeah.
You gotta
wave
rep.
your flag.
No gang affiliation. Feel me?
And
Red, gold, green, black star. You gotta rep.
I think that's definitely one thing they've been doing a good job of. It's like staying true, speaking about the culture.
Bro, it's cool to be African now.
Yeah.
You feel me? So even if you wasn't repping now, it's cool. You had to burn out your rep.
I think that was a really insightful conversation, Flee.
Word.
Thank you
I
so
had
much for
fun.
coming. Bigg Homie Flee, a legend in the making, if not a legend already.
In the mix.
In the mix.
What's up?
So today we're talking about, as usual, African music, where it's going, who's leading the charge, and we really want to investigate, as it's quickly becoming one of the most popular music genres globally. We felt it's important to define and discuss, what it is.
Like own the narrative,
Own the narrative.
Yeah.
How is Africa at the center of this conversation, and how can we stay authentic? And I mean, so far it's been really good, I think, for a lot of African artists. TikTok has been amazing for African artists, and Afrobeats is probably the most popular genre in the world right now. Everyone is listening to Afrobeats. You can hear it everywhere. So I guess my concern, or at least what we want to discuss, is how is this push to the Western world going to affect African artists and Afrobeats, as all the different sounds and genres that are coming from the continent are still being defined as that singular genre of Afrobeats, even though, I mean, me and you, we grew up in Ghana, we knew that. We know that this is not everything that comes out of the continent is Afrobeats. So where do we go from here?
I guess to begin this conversation, I think we had a nice conversation with Bigg Homie Flee.
Yes, sir.
We picked his brain on a bit of some of the questions we'll delve in today. And I think he had a lot of interesting things to say. So we're referencing some things he says during the episode. But yeah, so Mara, what would you... I guess we can start from Tyler. I guess you've heard the... yeah, Water by Tyler. And I think the Billboard, they put her song as an Afrobeat song.
She's number one on the Afrobeats Billboard charts, which, by the way, you have to pay for. You have to subscribe.
When you told me that, I was shocked.
I found that very annoying that every other Afrobeat chart, every other chart on Billboard is free except for the Afrobeat chart.
I guess they're seeing themselves as like they're creating this holy
grail
again, this framework.
And I think that's what I guess I'm uncomfortable with, because then now again, to see what Africans are doing, it's like they're selling back to us what should be our own creativity and our own music and our own sound. Anyway, I think I'm really happy for Tyler, and she's been doing this for a really long time. People seem to think that she's like a one-hit wonder. She just came from nowhere, or it's a TikTok song. It's absolutely not. She's been doing music for a long time, and
so
most of her music. This is her first hits.
Yeah.
This is her first global hits, and it's she's going far with it. And most of her songs, I would say, are more pop than anything else.
Afropop.
Sure.
I guess that's what Flea.
That's what he talked about, right? He called it Afropop.
Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned that, like, I mean, this idea of putting Afro in front of everything, I think is a bit.
We'll get to
that.
I have some interesting dialogue on that. So I guess, what do you think about the song? Is it an Afrobeat song? What is an Afrobeat song? Just because you're from Africa, I guess, or West Africa, and you make a song, is it Afrobeats? Or is it more like the sound? Because I guess she's using like an amapiano, I guess the log drum in the background. So I guess sonically there are those elements that make it, I guess.
And then they are the pop elements. So people feel like, is she pop? Is she? And this is where the confusion comes in. But I think, so I did a little Googling, because I was like, what do people think of when they hear the word genre? Like, what does that even mean for like a music genre? I'm just going to quote. Google said, a music genre or subgenre may be defined by the musical techniques, the cultural context, and the content and spirits of the themes of the songs. So, I think this, that's where the issue comes in, because African music, any music, is influenced by so many different things. The culture, the way people, what people like to move to, what people like to listen to, where they are from, all those things. So it's like, how do we figure out the root of everything, of all these genres, when the root of the genres is several other genres, and they are coming from different other roots?
I guess Afrobeats is interesting because at the root of it, I guess Fela introduced Afrobeat.
Singular.
Yeah. But his was like more like politically charged. Had like messages that, about corruption, the government. But I guess when you juxtapose that against modern day Afrobeats, it's kind of different.
I honestly, they're not related.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
think
not.
so.
Yeah,
Like, obviously,
yeah.
there's some influence. Obviously,
Mhm.
there's influence with the sound, the way,
Mhm.
Fela would lay down his tracks for sure. But I think the name was just used just to find a name to call
Yeah.
what we were doing.
It-
Flea kind of mentions a little bit that, like, we never really, at least in Ghana, we weren't naming the genre. We were kind of just making it songs. We were doing what felt good at the time.
And that's a brilliant segue, I guess, into who do you say, whose job is it to then define these sounds, these genre, these elements? Is it the artist themselves, like the producer, or us who are listening to the music?
Right.
Because I guess just from like an example I can think of is like Omale and how the consumers are labeling it Afro depression. All that I think is quite a funny. But when you say it's kind of like just because he himself has like failed to the, no, I wouldn't say failed, but hasn't really defined what music he's making. They are labeling it as like Afro depression, maybe because they don't really understand sonically or lyrically what he's trying
he
to
makes sad
convey.
music, right?
But
that's
I would say it's sad because when I think of like even where we are like in America, people that make, I don't want to say sad music, but music touching on elements other than partying and drinking alcohol. I guess we put them like, you could say he's making like some R&B soul music, some R&B,
blues, maybe
something,
something like that.
But because of this singular bucket, and his sound is very different from what you know from the bucket. People are like almost laughing at him, but because I don't think Afro depression is an actual.
No, I think it's just a joke. Because there's so many. I mean, let's talk about Thames. There's so many African artists that are just. I would say Thames is an R&B artist. I wouldn't call him an Afrobeats artist. Afro R&B. You see, we keep getting into that cycle. And I mean, I guess, the problem is really larger than music itself, is because I think it's really just a fundamental difference in the way Africans categorize things versus the way the West categorizes things. Like, we don't have as defined, as strict boundaries on the things that we do. We're not necessarily, I mean, and again, I speaking for Ghanaians, like, there's not as much gatekeeping. There's not as much limits as to what things can do. Like, if something influences you to, add a different beats to a song, that's just what it is. You're not making a new genre. You're not, and I think it just becomes difficult to then come to the West and you're trying to find a lane for yourself. You're trying to be on a particular chart. You're trying to get into an award show, whatever it is. They're not going to put, unfortunately, the West has the power. They're not going to put Thames. Well, maybe actually no. Thames is doing pretty well. Thames is a bad example because she's doing so well. She could be on like an R&B category. Well, for the most part,
is she defining? Has she come out to define her music as? I guess I did listen to an interview of hers, and she was citing her inspirations. She mentioned some of the greats. Whitney Houston. So I guess even that as a starting point can like give us like some insight into what she's trying to chime in.
Yeah.
But I guess you said something interesting. I guess when it comes to like the Afro in front of stuff, because even when you think of like R&B or soul, there's like neo soul, like
there's
alt
subgenres.
So I think the Afro, I guess hyphen, whatever we want to add it to, I think it's also just to depict that sonically we're using like elements that are true to like the continent.
So that the Afro is just to kind of say.
I don't know if you're going to be put in the same baskets with just R&B, because I don't think Thames is making the same music as like Summer Walker.
That's true. She's not.
Yeah. So I guess Afro, because you hear when you listen to like, what's the name of her new song? Is it You and Me?
Me and You.
Like sonically she's using like elements like the drums are like distinctively like African, South African.
And then the music video too, it was really giving.
What beach was that?
I know, right? It was giving. It was, right.
I'm not too sure.
It was giving African waters, like proper. And so I mean, Flea's argument is then that, once an African is making the music, that it will always be African music. That there's no way that it can be watered down. And honestly, I appreciate that perspective, because I think I'm approaching it a bit more negatively, where I'm like, they're gonna take it from us. You know what I mean? We're going to lose the value in it, and it's gonna become less for us, by us. But I appreciate that perspective, because I mean, truly, yes, Africans, you can. There's no limit to what we can do, and of course we're going to be influenced by back home, but we're going to be influenced by the West as well. So is it? I guess the question is then: is it important to then be defined in that way?
That's a good question. I guess, because I mean, there have been examples of people that have tried to define. So like Burna Boy right now
is doing he's calling it Afrofusion.
I don't know how you feel about that, or what actual Afrofusion means, because I think when I hear the word fusion, I guess it means elements from other sounds
put together,
being influenced into Afrobeats, like pop, jazz.
Yeah, and then
but I don't know what Afrobeats is then.
This is exactly, because I'm like, Afrobeats is an Afrofusion, if anything.
Yeah.
So it just feels lackluster. I guess it doesn't like, what does that mean? You know, I mean, again, Afro pop, Afro rave. Rema is doing Afro rave. I would say if you listen to Rema before his,
put you on D&D,
right? If you listen to him before his main his main albums and stuff, he did a lot of. I would say he's a trap artist, and I think that's typical of Gen Z people. I think we're really into that kind of alternative sort of rap, sing song, trap type of sound. I would say Rema is a trap artist. Afro trap. I don't know. I've not heard it. You know. But again, it's like we just keep getting to it. It just feels like we're still using Western definitions to label ourselves, and it's just, I don't think it's working for us. I think I really like I mentioned that with our conversation with Flee. I really prefer the local name, so Alte for like the alternative music that we're making, Asaka for Ghanaian drill.
What you said has brought like an interesting thought into my mind. So it means the product itself, I guess the product being IE music, who is the and I'm taking us now on a whole different path, so I apologize.
No.
But like who are they making the music for? I think that's something we're to talk about, but I guess just like a thought just came to mind right now. Like Afro rave, are we making the music for people back home? Is it for people here? Who is pushing these names? Is it the labels?
I'm sure like an artist would say that they're making music for everybody because they want to be global and everything. But then, the scale is different for everybody, because so now one thing I can think about is just concerts. When artists are touring, African artists are touring within the continent versus outside of the continent, it's a whole different level of production. Obviously, the infrastructure is not there. What can we do? Like this is like I can't start talking about our governments, because it's that's not a whole.
That's not why we're
that's
here.
not a whole. That's not a whole different issue. Like the infrastructure is not there, but it's like when you are an African artist, you grew up there, you're influenced by the sound, but you seem to give your all to everyone else, but the people that made who you are. So then I guess people just then, I mean, I don't know, I guess I'm not speaking for myself, but I think generally that like people will start to feel like they are being left behind by the artists that they pushed forward. So then then it just becomes tricky, and so this is what this whole
But I think
podcast is going to be about, because how do we come to a place where everyone's comfortable, I suppose.
So I think that's what Flee says, something interesting in regards to that it's a bit nuanced in the sense that yes, people are trying to stay true to their roots, but I think also at the end of the day, there's also like this is how they make money,
right?
So they're also trying to
to blow up
in a sense. So I think it's about finding that fine balance. And then some artists seem to be able to find that balance where they still stay true to their sound, but still very popular. Like Ashake. I wouldn't say his music is very,
very unique.
Very unique.
Doesn't really speak English in most of his music.
Yeah, although I would say though, if not for the Rising, I'm a piano. It'll be interesting to see what other sound he'll be channeling.
Right.
So it's unfortunate. I wish we had some Southern Africans here
And in following episodes, we
yeah,
will.
'cause it's something I've been thinking about. I'm very curious about. How do you feel about the sound? I guess it's a free world, and if you hear a sound that you're inspired by, you can take those elements and put it. Because I guess Afrobeats already used to use drums, so I guess not just replacing the drums you used to use with log drums now from Amapiano.
So I mean, there's that Netflix documentary. I think it's called Afrobeats something. Sorry, I don't remember the exact name, but they kind of talk about that underlying beats is the Panlugo beats, which is a Ghanaian rhythm. That's again, it's just African drum. So like, I mean, these things that go back and forth, and then obviously as time goes on, then there's more complicated instruments and winds, and then there's technology that comes in, and so that's how we've come to where we are today. And so with all that mixture, how do we even say what's what, and how do we even describe something that's 1,000 things in one, you know? The question is it's a big question.
But I guess these are good questions, because I guess it also gives listeners kind of like a preview into some of the things that we tend to discuss on In the Mix with Kokwe and Mariah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
But I think one thing we haven't mentioned yet though is like they're also like producers that also like categorizing the sound.
So we did talk a little bit about Jules in our interview. Jules, I would say, like I said, is the foundation of the current Afrobeats wave. But of course, many people have come before him and have come after him. One producer I'm loving right now, London, who's Rema's main producer, I believe. Again, and then our main influence for the name, Apietu's another legend. And so I mean, just there's all these elements and all these people that have made that play into even just one song, into one body of work.
But I think that's one thing too. The producers are like, and even Flee like mentioned it, that they are like almost like the backbone, you know, of the sound.
Yeah,
like they're the ones. So that's why I wish, I guess, in subsequent episodes, if we do bring other artists on, it'll be interesting to see the creative process behind how songs come to fruition. Because I'm wondering if you're Rema or you're Berna, I'm a producer, I come to you with like a last beat and you hop on it, and then you make the sound, or we have a discussion that I want the song to sound like this, the song to sound like this or like that. I don't know.
How does it come about? Basically, it's a whole. I mean, I think we need to get into the studio for we need to lay some bars.
I mean,
lay some bars down. I feel like I could drop a 1-2. You know,
I've tried.
You tried? Yeah, bro. Katie's coming out. Coming soon.
I tried making some music. I don't even know how I would. And it made me even want my little delve into making music. I think the sound was just influenced by everything I was listening to.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that was the same, because I was listening to Rema speak. Like I read one of his interviews, and they asked him like, what's his inspiration behind his sound? And he really didn't know how to answer, because he said like growing up, he was just listening to what was around, like what his his siblings were listening to, what was like in the radio,
Which is probably why I would say he does more trap, because then he's Rema's 23. So I can imagine, I mean, born in 2000, like I'm sure it was a lot of the modern stuff that we listened to, and that's what's kind of influenced what he's making now.
I guess speaking of Rama, you heard a song with Ice Spice.
Yeah.
I guess this kind of segue us into the world of Afrobeat artists collaborating with the Western world.
Yes.
Oh, I don't use the word Western world. What does the Western world even mean? I guess it's not it.
But
other people. With other people.
Americans, maybe.
Okay,
Americans.
let's start from there.
Well, no, but then there's also like all this Puerto Rican. There's a lot of reggaeton, Afrobeats collaborations.
What do you make of it?
I mean, you know, sometimes it's really good, but when it's not really good, it's usually really bad. Like the Rema and Ice Spice song was not it. I don't think Ice Spice has the sound for Afrobeats, or she hasn't found it yet.
You asked a good question. So if an Afrobeat artist makes a song with a non-Afrobeat artist, is the song, I guess the sound, but is the song maybe they're making like just a regular song.
And generic.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. I guess depends on who owns the song. But once an African is on it, then it's gonna be put into Afrobeats category. And I mean, this is a larger problem outside of just African music, because one person that I know has been very vocal about, well, a lot of people, but there's Tyler the Creator,
Mm-hmm.
who I would say hasn't made a proper rap album in years. Maybe in the last 3 albums haven't been rap albums. They would probably be
Yeah.
more pop. But he's always nominated for rap albums, and he's
Yeah.
commented on that like he's not making rap albums.
So
Why is he
even he's
getting
like trying to define his sound, and they are
Mhm.
not minding him.
Andre 3000 just released.
Or
It
his
wasn't
flute
a
album.
flute out like, and I think he was still put into a rap category.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like, what does this mean? Like, why does it? As long as you're black, then, or as long as you're African, you are immediately put into one singular bucket. And so the problem is really larger than I think any of us can really
Mm-hmm.
handle. But then I think it's important that we have this conversation, because then it's like, how do we take control over how we are labeled and defined?
Mm-hmm.
And then if we're taking control, how do we do that? Are we just going to put Afro in front of everything? Or are we going to be more thoughtful? I guess it's a start.
Because I think for me, I'm all for the trying at least, even if the names could be more fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
But then it makes people realize that, okay, I like singing.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people like Omale, Thames I can listen to,
Mm-hmm.
and like they can be my inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, okay, Afro soul, I don't know, there's no name for it, but it's a
I
thing.
think Afro Soul. I've heard Afro Soul.
Yeah, I mean, is it world?
Well, they always
He
put
tried to-
worldwide. Yeah, world
Yeah.
music.
Well, not even the artist himself, World,
Yeah.
the guy with the
I thought you were
the
talking
guy
about
that
the
likes dyeing his
yeah,
hair.
yes, WURL. Yeah.
He released an Afro soul album
Mm-hmm.
not too long ago. So I guess he's trying. People are trying. But I guess even on collaborations, Flea says something. I think that one of the most profound things I heard in a while,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of, it was like a paradigm shift for the whole year of return thing.
Mhm.
People to trace their roots back to Africa.
Just connecting the diaspora and the continent. Yeah.
And he said like the conversation, this whole paradigm shift in the conversation afterwards is being had through music.
Mm-hmm.
I listened. I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
very top. That was interesting. I think it's true.
I agree absolutely. And he
Yeah.
said that, like, I mean, we're all black, we're all from the same place, and so of course there is that relation, and of course there are some similarities and some influences, and we all share that. So it's I guess that's why the conversation is happening through music, because I think that's one of the ways that black people communicate. That's one of the ways that we sort of express ourselves. One of the most important ways that we express ourselves. So as we're expressing ourselves and we're communicating now with the diaspora and showing ourselves, how do we make sure we're understood and make sure that people can communicate back to us? And I guess that's where collaborations come in. And so I can't lambast collaborations, even though some of them are just, there's no reason why.
Yeah.
There's no reason why Camila Cabello and Oxlade had to get together. Like, there's some people that it's just like, it just won't work. So there's no need. I don't think there's a need to force certain things.
Like collaboration. But I guess also some of the collaborations are more like, marketing ploys.
And I think that's where the problem. That's where the problem is,
But
right?
I mean, from a business point of view, though, I
Mhm.
think it's because I remember, like, let's say for example, with the Ice Spice and Rema song.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say even if the song isn't the best it could be, I think it's like a nice introduction of like Ice Spice fans
To Afrobeats.
into like Rema, his catalog.
Okay.
So I think in a way so I guess it's like a double-edged sword, Like sonically, the more collaborations we have, it could like take us further away from what the sound is if
From
they
what
are
the
not
core sound
careful.
is, yeah.
But in another way, it could help to make some of these artists more known. 'Cause
And
you
that will feed them at the end of the day, which is what being like an artist only known within your country is not enough for that.
Mhm.
Like, you're not gonna be able. Music is a very expensive industry, and the artists
Mhm.
usually get the shortest end of the stick.
Yeah. So I think that's the problem is that like, because now a lot of these guys are being signed by the international labels.
Mm-hmm.
It's a money-making business.
Mm-hmm.
The capitalist society.
Streaming numbers must be.
So
in
my
the
only
billions,
fear
yeah.
though is that if Rema, I guess he has to be vocal about it, but like
Mhm.
his label says, I guess Mavens, I guess Don Jazzy's will have his. But I'm thinking of like an artist that like started his music with like his local producer
Mhm.
making the sounds, and now he gets signed, and now they're putting him in the room with like non-African
I mean,
producers.
I think Rema is knows who he is. I
Well,
would
not
I
even
would say
in general,
Rema
but
just in general.
it's just, I think it's just a fear. Like, do you feel like the sound will get distorted
I think it
if
definitely
they
happens.
start to if the producers are no longer from the continent?
Right. I think it definitely
Yeah.
happens. Like one example I think of is D'banj. As soon as D'banj signed to, I think it was Kanye's
it's
label,
good
right?
music.
Good music. We didn't hear from him again, and what we did hear from him wasn't too great. So, like it was, he kind of lost that again that proper Nigerian flavor that he had.
That's a good example.
So I mean, I think it's important for the artists to really be aware of who they are and to own that. And so that becomes difficult when you're a newer artist because like you're only still finding your feet and everything, and not everybody's as confident. You need that kind of push. So if you are successful early on and you still don't know who you are, and then there's the danger of, okay, I mean now the label's telling you to do this and this and this, and you're just doing it, and now you've lost your core fan base. And sure, maybe you have some streaming numbers, but I mean, like, are you still that Afrobeats, that Amapiano, that Asaka artist? And I think that's where the fear comes in. I think, like, how many people can we? We have to all agree to sort of make that push and make sure that we're not conforming to what other people that don't understand the culture are saying of us. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it's interesting because I guess one of the things we're trying to touch on is like dilution, like the dilution of the sound. So would you say are there some artists that like we used to have gotten diluted a little bit, or they've gotten too lost in the? Let's talk about Burna Boy, for example. He's one of the biggest Afrobeats artists. It's interesting. I was having a conversation, I guess, with a day one Burna Boy fan. I would say maybe most of us are since we started listening to him along. And she
likes
says,
the party.
Yeah, says she doesn't listen to him anymore, to be honest, because she feels like actually there are two things. So I think I have two personal anecdotes that I'll share.
Okay.
So I guess the first one, she doesn't listen to Burna Boy anymore because she feels like his sound now has become, it's not really Afrobeats in her opinion. It's become more like centered. It's being made for non-Africans in her opinion. And someone else said his music now sounds like, by the way, people, this is not my opinion. Some people coming are worrying me. And someone else said that his music now sounds like the music you just play on the radio.
Right. Radio hits.
Yeah.
Just,
What do you make of these? Very interesting. And Burna Boy, would you say he's reached a stage where he has proved his catalog of Afrobeat songs, so now he's in a position where
he can do whatever.
Yeah. Because that's what Flee said. We should leave him alone.
Yeah, we should leave. And yes, honestly, because Burna Boy, he's done amazing things. He's been in the game. I want to say since 2008. It took him a long time to blow up to where like this is not a day one thing at all. And he deserves all that he's gotten. But I think again, like as a representation of African music and of Afrobeats, what you should be putting your best foot forward and pushing the narrative that African music is ours and that we are telling our stories. So it's a little uncomfortable when he goes out and he says stuff like the Afrobeats isn't about anything, and there's that was come on. I don't
know why he does that.
Like why? Like so I mean I agree that he can do whatever he wants. He absolutely can, because he's Burna Boy for a reason. Like Grammy Award winning Burna Boy, like that was monumental. But I think it's important. It's as important for him as one of the biggest Afrobeat artists to the smallest Afrobeat artists to the smallest African artists, the ones that we never hear of, to always sort of rep your set, rep where you're from, and be proud of where you're from, and say that this is Ghanaian music, this is Nigerian music, this is Kenyan music, this is, yeah, that's the larger story. It's just making sure,
So I think
making sure that we're owning that.
Then would you say though that like when it comes to Burna Boy, for example, he was in Nigeria, that was the sound he was hearing. He was making that music. As he became bigger and started meeting like more people, more producers, he began to explore other interests. Because I guess when it comes to his last album,
I told them.
Thank you. He did say that like growing up, he liked 90s
right
hip hop, R&B.
Of course.
So it's like a dedication album to that.
Right.
You even see it through like
right,
the album
and then he had
art.
like the Wu-Tang influences throughout and all that.
So I think one, cap or no cap.
What's cap?
In terms of is he just telling the story of the album, or you think it's true that
Oh, I'm sure he did. Like we all did. I'm sure we
I'm just-
all. No, I'm sure he did. It's just, and he can't again. Like you can't. I'm not like no one. Make whatever music you want, but it's important. I think that when you're making that music, you say that this is for us by us. This is for my people,
Mhm.
and I am just sharing my creativity. And the reason why I'm here today is not because I was just influenced by R&B, pop, whatever. It's also because I grew up here, and this is what I was hearing, and this is the kind of sounds I was hearing. This is the kind of food I was eating. All of these things like make me produce this music.
Mhm.
I think it's just important to always sort of carry that on your back as an African,
So I mean, there's
as
some,
a black person.
Mhm. And there are also like some artists that have managed to be big,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still like really channeling like the local sounds.
Mhm.
I'm going to think of like
Like Davido.
David, Nigeria, even like I don't know if I can mention their names anymore. Naira Marley,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that whole bandwagon of his guys. You know,
Yeah.
Say vibes.
Yeah.
They're making very
Local music. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that I think, where the diaspora plays into it, because I mean there are so many Nigerians, for
beautiful.
example.
brilliant
There's
segue you brought us into.
There's so many Nigerians all over the world, so they're always going to push their people, and I think that's something that's really great about Nigerians. Like they will support their own no matter what.
And I think you've hit like a brilliant nail on the head
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like there's like two different like I don't even know how to describe it. Two different things that have happened simultaneously
Mm-hmm.
that have also caused Afrobeats to become this big, or
Yeah.
African music.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the rise in like social media and streaming,
Yeah.
and also just the sheer number of people from the continent that find themselves
right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the two things of like,
Sort of coincided.
yeah.
And then I mean, like Flea said, like yeah, there has been a lot more mixing. There's been a
Mhm.
lot more like we're just more spread out. We're communicating more with people that are outside of necessarily our immediate
Mhm.
zones, and so our music is spreading in that way. And obviously, it's always done that, but then we've just reached a time where it's the perfect recipe for this kind of exposure.
So then what rules then will you say the DJs are also playing?
Say that again.
The DJs in the rise of
Their right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many again, so many tiny pieces that have made it like the perfect mixture for where we are today. And so I think in order to keep that going, in order to keep getting it better, making sure that the infrastructure back home is also sort of improving. That as Afrobeats and African music is becoming bigger, that also the industries back home are also feeling that energy. Because I mean, like apart from maybe the Nigerian and maybe the South African industry, most of them are struggling still.
Yeah.
That sort of knowledge sort of spreads throughout the continent, so that again when we're pushing, again the energy is coming from the continent and is not going outside and then coming back to us. Like it's not being sold back to us.
I feel like right now that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Is that like it's being what can we do?
What can we
That's
do?
one of my phrases for the year.
What can we do?
So I guess what would be your perfect, if you were to say, what would be your perfect depiction of, I guess in 10 years from now, would you want, I guess, would we want a situation where it's still big, it's still true to the sound? Can all those things happen at the same
time?
Because once certain tentacles are inside the
soup.
the soup.
God, I hope so. Like, I hope so. Like, I hope we can. I definitely think that this is just a beginning. I don't think Afrobeats is going anywhere. Like Flea said, like, there's too many of us. It's too potent. The vibes are too pure. Like that, I don't believe it's going anywhere.
Nowhere.
But again, I think it's the authenticity and making sure that as it rises globally, it's rising at home as well, and that the people at home are benefiting from that. I think that's the factor that I'm like unsure of. As for whether it's going to still be popping in 10 years, absolutely, it's going to still be popping in 50 years. But yeah, we're gonna keep investigating this question.
Yeah, in the mixed body.
In the mixed body, we're gonna talk to a lot more people. We're gonna talk to DJs, producers, other artists, people in the industry, and we're going to continue to learn what it is that we can do to keep the sound authentic, but also make sure that we're still popular, we're still popping, we're still owning ourselves, and we're not relying on the West to define us or to give us awards or to pay us. Really, how do we get to a point where we are relying on ourselves?
And I think this conversation like this help because like it's time we own the narrative, you know. Because like I'm tired of like when I went to like Pitchfork. I don't know if I can mention names, but writing like why are they reviewing? We should be reviewing our own albums, you know. We should be reviewing. And I think it's also cool because like podcasting, like it's like a good form of also like documenting, you know, the progress of the genre.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, you know, in the mix.
We hear shout out to the girls that put us on. They know themselves.
But yeah,
I guess African music isn't going anywhere.
Nowhere.
We're here to stay.
And it's rich. It's
rich.
It's full of layers. It's very nuanced.
Get into it.
And I think
get into it beyond the big names you hear like Brenna Boy, Thames. There's so many wonderful people, wonderful sounds, wonderful genres coming from the continent. Don't go at it with an open mind and travel there and explore. And I think we'll continue to grow together and to communicate together as a diaspora and as a community through music.